Hello, I'm the Commie.
And I am the liberal, and this is our father, William Taylor.
Greetings. Hello.
We want to say to everybody happy holidays right now.
Yeah.
Christmas was last Saturday.
Hope you had a very good one. And of course, we're looking forward to the new year, which is in a matter of days.
2022 is on Saturday, by the way.
Definitely is going to be a lot better than this one.
That's for
And the
sure.
one before, even.
That's for sure.
Absolutely, and
Think positive. That's the way you go.
Yeah, you gotta think positive, everybody. If you think positive, good things would happen.
Well, let's get to some of the news, I guess. Talking about that. Well, 1,000 flights have been canceled. Those persons, as well as all others that group together for whatever reason, need not be. Over 865,000 people have died this year so far. We need to stay home. Must not want to live. All these people that are not listening. Do you value life?
Yeah, think about this, people. When you don't listen, as far as I'm concerned, and kill yourself as well as others by not following Dr. Fauci's advice and not following the guidelines until enough people get vaccinated and the death rate goes down to zero, that means you don't value life. Because each day the death rate goes up, it has proven that you don't value life. So our question is if you value life or not. Now, if you do value life, listen to Dr. Fauci. Otherwise, you're going to be dead just like everybody else is.
Go ahead, son.
yes, well, I would say this. We have to make sure that everybody is safe, and we all have to pull together and have this safe. None of these anti-vax stuff, like what is reported in the news on Fix News and Newsmax and OAN and all those right-wing channels. What they're doing is promoting some of the worst disinformation we've seen in a long time, since at least 2017. I remind you that when we had the Ebola epidemic, there was not as much misinformation as we have here. And unfortunately, we have disrespect to people who are in power, like President Joe Biden. I'm sure many of you have heard the fact that there was a meeting at the Santa Tracker. They did a meeting, and one of the parents said, "Let's go, Brandon," which is code for F Joe Biden. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what it was. And I think it shows that even during the holidays, the country has only gotten more divided. You have people talking crazy about succession and succeeding states. It's really sad, and we just need to try to pull together during the outbreak. And we sort of had that when at the start of the outbreak, when we had Biden giving the $1,400 checks to people, the stimulus money, and that ended up cutting poverty by 19%, and the child tax credit cut poverty by 40%. And that's why it makes no sense that we have a guy in office named Joe Manchin who has continued to bobble and has continued to lie. He lied to the people and said he would pass Build Back Better, which would have given us paid family leave, free community college, and all those great policies, and he lied. What's primary him and what's primary Democrats who are really Republicans in sheep's in linens clothing, and let's try to do that as the midterms roll in, because West Virginia needed that aid. He says he's doing what he's doing for West Virginians. But here's the thing, West Virginia, what he doesn't know and what he doesn't want people to know is that West Virginia is the fourth poorest state in America. And if you look at all these states that are run by Trump or are Republican run, they are some of the poorest states. Florida is an exception, but they are mostly some of the poorest states in the country. Mississippi, for example, is a very poor state. So how can Republicans say they're doing well on the economy when you have so much inequality in this country? And how could they and so-called centrists who are neoliberal centrists and neocons and other ideological people in positions in the center and on the right say the economy is doing well when you have people going bankrupt 460,000 a month? So we have to get everything under control with the pandemic and with everything else.
The economy is not doing well if you got people dying. People dying of COVID-19 is not how you help the economy. Because if people are dying of COVID-19 because nobody's listening, not only they're dead, but the economy goes dead too, because nobody's alive to keep the economy open. They're all dead. That's why people need to listen to Dr. Fauci. You don't listen to Dr. Fauci, you're dead, and it's been totally proven.
Excuse me. Yeah, he does give me advice. Good old Fauci, Dr. Fauci. I value his opinion, and
we all do.
Everybody believes in him. That's true, because he seems to speak like it should be and all that. So, another unfortunate thing that's been coming around and all that. The CRT, critical race theory.
Meet the Press did a full episode on that, and I think it's sad what we're seeing happening in this country is we're seeing bias in the school systems. And what I mean by this is we're seeing cases of people attacking our educators and everyone else with CRT. And I think they would agree that this is one of the most sad developments in the so-called culture war in America. And I think the culture war is started by the Republicans. This is Republican politics going all the way back to the Nixon years, where they start things up by via a culture war and a hot button issue and getting people agitated and angry at each other and dividing and not just that, but putting at each other's throats the race and using race as a way to cultivate racist theory, language, and other values that we don't need to see happening in this country. And when you have cases like this one school in Texas that tried to say that they couldn't teach the Holocaust, or what was it? They couldn't have a book on the Holocaust because they had to seek a second opinion, as if there should be a second opinion, another opinion on the Holocaust, which is one of the greatest disasters and troublesome hearings in in world history, rather. So I think it's unfortunate that you have that, and we have to teach these things because history will repeat itself. Needless to say, if we don't teach the fact that there is racism, and it's not that we're just saying it, it's true. There is racism in law. We see it with African Americans, most notably being shot by armed police officers, and they were unarmed, the victims. So what we really need is a way to try to teach these issues, and the whole argument from the right is that white people and white children will feel guilty about it. Well, here's the thing. If we taught like that, if we really teach like that, look at the American Revolution. Do we teach the American Revolution and do we say British people will feel guilty about their role in the American Revolution? No, we don't. And there's no evidence that of white children feeling guilty about it. So we really need to talk more about critical race theory and racism's role in public schools. And I'm wondering what you both think about this issue.
Talking about the teaching of slavery, doing it in the proper way, doing it in the honest way, the true way, we definitely need to. It's been that way ever since it occurred. And the Republicans want to defund schools, which
and they have.
It hinders everything, and they like that because if they can get it to trying to get people to feel sorry for themselves and this and that, and have not have common courtesy as human beings, it's just terrible.
Yeah, and I think it's sad, and the U.S. school system is so biased. Like with the teaching of communism, communism's bad, but they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you the fact that certain that policies actually worked in Cuba. That Castro really did. A lot of the policies actually worked well. Same thing with Russia and other countries. They never teach you that. Instead, they teach you from one side that it is bad and it's a one-sided thing, and it's almost to the point where it's propaganda. Same thing with slavery. We know that for many years, the textbooks used in schools were written by Confederates or Confederate sympathizers who were so-called historians, and they left out all or many of the details that would have been taught by those same people.
It's kind of organized one-sided. It's not being told the total way it should be.
And that's partially why, and I don't mean to interrupt, but that's partially why I was homeschooled, and I went to homeschool as a child because the American education system is just so biased, whether it be about communism and the real teaching of communism, whether about the teaching of McCarthyism, whether it be about the teaching of slavery. And during the broadcast, during Meet the Press, Chuck Todd, the host, said in Florida that they didn't teach the race riot or the race massacre that occurred in Jacksonville.
I never knew about it either. And I lived in Florida for my I moved there during my freshman year of high school. So and stayed there, the whole time to my 20s. And yeah, I was never taught about it either. I don't recall hearing about it. In Jacksonville, I was living in St. Petersburg. Jacksonville is only like 6 hour ride, give or take.
Yeah.
So it's what they want you to let you know and all that. The CRT and all is very important. To take care of. The Republicans are just throwing it into the fire to do what? Cause trouble.
That is what they're trying to do. They're trying to do that to try to win elections, and it really has galvanized the Republican voters, and it really has in those ways. I mean, you could say Glenn Youngkin won the Virginia governor's race off that, because Republicans know the strategy that could make them win: stay away from Trump, and instead campaign on education, on critical race theory, and those other ways, and that's why they were able to win in blue Virginia. And I think it would be a lot better. The race would have been a lot closer, or maybe McAuliffe could have won if maybe Lee Carter, who was the socialist, if he had won the nomination, I'm sure it would have been a lot closer than it was. And I think that's who they should have nominated. But unfortunately, they did not do that. They nominated McAuliffe, who was an establishment candidate who doesn't know how to campaign, and who met him with the theories. He basically went down the rabbit hole with critical race theory. And how you win is by talking about two things: the economy and climate change. If he had talked about those issues more, then they could have won. So unfortunately, that did not happen, and there was a loss for Democrats.
Excuse me, I was going to say climate change. You have to worry about it. It's happening. Animals are dying. All living organisms are dying up there. Ice in North Pole, where did it go, man?
The ice is gone in the North Pole because of climate change. And that's why we really need to get rid of climate change, get rid of these oil and factories, because otherwise more animals as well as people are going to die. They mentioned on the Weather Channel just recently about the North Pole. The North Pole melts 260 millimeters of ice every year because of climate change.
Very much so. And I think climate change is an issue that really could galvanize a lot of young people, a lot of young voters. But instead, Biden isn't doing that, and is in some cases aiding climate change. So I think Biden has got to do a better job of talking about climate change. And remember, if he can't get this stuff passed through Congress, he has the executive orders. He could sign executive orders and do it via executive action. And I think that's where things are going to go, because Build Back Better is stalled and Joe Manchin is refusing to vote for it. I think what's going to happen is one of two things. One thing is that Joe Manchin President of Biden. Well, Manchin obviously is the one who's basically president right now. But our supposed president, Joe Biden, will have to take matters into his hands with executive action. And by signing executive orders, he could complete the agenda, the Biden agenda, by doing that. And I think that's what they'll have to do the next few months or weeks. And that's something Carter did not do when he was in office. And a lot of people are comparing Biden to Carter in a bad way. And that's one thing he did not do. But Biden should do is do executive orders, and maybe you can try to salvage a little of what could have happened.
Unfortunately, right now, we have a massive bird flu outbreak.
We do.
It may be the next pandemic in 2022.
And that's only because of climate change.
It needs to be really taken care of. And then we have, unfortunately, mixed up type of reasoning. Trump claims 5,000 dead people voted in Georgia. As usual, there's no proof. Dumb Trump shows he's still here, and he's not welcome.
And he's not getting any smarter.
Definitely isn't. And he never was. So.
Never.
Is there any other stuff you like to say about topic we're talking about? Or I'll go on to some brighter news.
Well, I'll say this. Trump is trying to do his shtick of election fraud. And I do want to mention one other news thing that is good news. Chile elected a leftist president a few days ago, yesterday. And I'm very happy about that. The far right, a lot of people thought the far right was gaining ground in Chile, and there was a chance that they could win. But thankfully, no, they ended up losing. And thankfully, maybe that will be code for what could happen in the next several years as the tide. We know the whole red tide in Latin America, that was a big deal during the 2000s and the early 2010s. Maybe there's some hope for that, and hopefully there is, because the more leftist presidents we have, the more power we have, and the more solidarity we have with the working class. And that's mostly been the good news this year. While Biden's agenda, Build Back Better, is gone, and there's been just lots of bad headlines with the virus and COVID. The one upside has been we've gotten a lot of labor victories with the labor movement in the U.S. And we got another win recently with Scholastic and those workers.
All right, everybody. So let you know, everybody, we will be moving on to sports, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, the Seahawks unfortunately lost. You can kind of tell I like them.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with my sons too.
Yeah, you like them.
It looks like this year is not the year. So
you never really.
Yeah. Last week, after being beaten totally with no points, the Buccaneers totally won this weekend. We're also been discussing about Atlanta Braves won the World Series.
Yeah, we'll be looking back at sports, the top 5 events in sports this year, and the Braves won. I think it was their first World Series since 1995.
Yeah, I believe so.
And that was about 26 years ago.
We've been to we call it Atlanta. The family has, and just kind of holding on, change buses, on the Greyhound and all that.
Yeah,
But
we're old school. We do great.
but we like Atlanta. Wonderful place. So we even thought about getting property there or something sometime later down the road. The state of Atlanta is wonderful. Actually.
Yeah. What did you think of the Madden documentary that aired on Fox?
Oh,
this
getting back
Christmas
to
Day?
we'll get back. Yeah.
That's something you forgot.
The first thing I like to say about documentary, I missed a lot of it. I was busy cooking and this and that and doing things and trying to watch it, but not really getting there. And I saw maybe 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, But it was wonderful because it told, about the life of one of the most impressive people, good people in the the world. So the guy's just he's likable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that way. Sometimes you come across people that are just like that.
Yeah, I played Madden NFL. I think a lot of people have. It's a great game, and so many people have played the game Madden. It's a big part of the legacy, but a lot of people don't know the man himself, and I think the documentary did a good job on shining a light on Madden's history, his great career as head coach of the now the Las Vegas Raiders. At the time, I believe they were the Los Angeles Raiders.
Oakland Raiders.
Okay, they were Oakland back in 1981.
Yeah.
Oakland Raiders.
Now they're
Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders, everybody, came around in the 2020, which was last year. That's when the Las Vegas Raiders came around, and that's when they changed the name from Oakland to Las Vegas, and they moved from Oakland, California to Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is a wonderful place and all that. I went there to check on living there all by my lonesome, when I was single and all. And, I stayed, just, a little bit. And then I turned around and went back to Los Angeles, where I was living in, at that time, down in the valley, LA. But what I found in Las Vegas was most welcoming, and especially if you're into all that get up and go stuff, because people there don't sleep that much. They're always running around. Dude.
Yeah, well,
did you hear who won the NBA title?
Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks, they won this year. I think Giannis is a player to win. I think they might maybe win one more, I think, in the next 5 years. I think I could see them winning a second one. Giannis is a talented player. There's a reason why he's known as the Greek Freak. He's dominated the basketball competition for a while, but he's got some competition now because the Warriors, Golden State, which admittedly I will say is my favorite team, They're doing really well. Steph has the all-time, and we'll be getting to that in a second. But he has the all-time 3-point lead record now. So, and they're playing like they were when they had the dynasty. So maybe the dynasty isn't over.
Maybe not.
Because
I think they need to fill in again an extra player though. That's real good.
I think they don't need one. They're winning even without Kevin Durant, and
yeah, it's too bad Kevin left. They could have won a couple more pretty easy.
Yeah, well, there was that one year where they were pretty bad, and a lot of people said the dynasty was over. Collins thought the dynasty was over. If you watch Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports 1.
Well, then come to find
Pretty
out,
likable dude.
That's for sure. But then he is. But then come to find out, a year after the pandemic started, Golden State regained their dynasty this year, and Golden State might face LeBron James again in the championship, only with a different team, the Los Angeles Lakers.
I think if Golden State faces LeBron, I think they beat him. I think they have a better shot at winning it. Now, it's too early to tell. The season has started not too long ago. And, of course, the Christmas Day games. But I think they got a good shot. And they could maybe beat the Lakers or give them a run for their money. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, getting back to a side comment about looking back, what about Tom Brady and the Buccaneers?
Well,
they won
the Super Bowl.
And tell you what, guys and women out there, they're coming around again, and Tom's Tom. So regardless if you like him or you don't, he's definitely, I would say, probably going to win again. It'll be up to Kansas City, or who's the other team?
New England.
I think Kansas City. I said this last week. I don't know if I said this on the show, but I did say this in passing to my dad last week that I think Kansas City wins the Super Bowl this year. I think they have the best team. They have a great quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is really a young version of Tom Brady. To use a chess reference, he's like Arisia Ferrugia, the young teen chess talent that everybody's talking about in the chess sport. And I think he's the equivalent to that in football. I think he's going to be the next big thing. And I think he wins the Super Bowl this year.
I think everybody, it would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because you have Tom Brady. And regardless of whether people like Brady or not, Tom Brady is the better quarterback in the NFL. He's the number one quarterback and first quarterback to make the playoffs every year with both teams. And so to let you know, Brady's first year with Tampa Bay, he won the Super Bowl. So I'm going to put it to you this way. Regardless of the Kansas City player plays chess or not, and Kansas City's a good team or not, they face Brady. Brady's going to defeat them because Brady's is a lot better than Kansas City.
Something that shows you that you can't count them out. They're really good. Last week we saw them get beaten real bad and with no points. And this week they come back and they ran the points up on their opponent. So, had no trouble. So maybe ran out of gas that little time, or maybe that the coaches over there know how to play them. Is the only reason. You got to go back when they played New York Giants. Giants got them both times. They didn't win.
Wouldn't it be something if New England made it to the Super Bowl and they faced Tampa Bay? That would be interesting.
It would be interesting because that's Brady's old team, the New England Patriots, and Brady's new team is now Tampa Bay, and Brady played with the New England Patriots for 21 years.
Well, think about it right now. Good old Tom is, we'll say, kicking back, sipping, Kool-Aid or whatever, just getting ready, enjoying the passing weather and all. Whereas up in New England, they're looking around for their gloves, their scarves, their double coats, and everything. It's cold. So I think
cold.
He had very good reason to go where he went, just because of the weather. And I lived in that, like I said, Florida for a while, so I know how it can be. The only thing you gotta get used to is the humidity. Other than that, everything's great. Usually it rains between 2 and 4, 1 and 3 every day, during the rainy season. But other than that, it lives up to its name, the Sunshine State.
Yeah, well, too bad its governor is a moron.
We'll try not talking too much about him because we're on our way that way. And I hate to have somebody meet us and say, "You're not coming there." So,
maybe that could happen.
I don't know. I don't put anything past anybody nowadays.
That wouldn't happen. But I will say this: Florida needs new leadership and better leadership than it had. And I know the gubernatorial election's coming up in Florida next year. Hopefully, Florida voters will vote the right person in.
Florida is a swing state, everybody. And I wanted to tell you, with Florida, half of the state and population's Democrat, and the other half is Republican. And every time there's an election in Florida, it's very close because it's a swing state. This like a presidential election. Every time there's a presidential election in Florida, it's very close because it's a swing state. Now, I'm going to point one thing out to you, everybody. When we had the presidential election in the United States between Al Gore and George W. Bush, Al Gore won the state of Florida by 2 points. And George W. Bush...
They didn't give it to him.
Yeah, they didn't give it to him, which is unfair.
That's because
they gave it to Bush instead.
That's because the Supreme Court unfairly ordered to stop the recount before it ended. And if they had continued the recount, Gore would have won the presidency.
And would have been much better person for the job.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how different it would have been. Obviously, Gore might be a neo-lib, but he maybe would have taken more action on climate than Bill Clinton did.
We have an election coming up in about 3 years about another president and all that, different thing. If Joe, President Biden, decides he wants to run, all the power to him. But hey, let's not forget who they say. Who are you gonna have? There's always Hillary, and you know who I'm talking about. And she's the right person for the right time, and she cares.
And I'll put it to you this way: Hillary Clinton is a very killing person, and if she were the one for president, she would become president of the United States easily because she's really well liked, Hillary Clinton, and she would easily help the environment and the climate. I want to tell you.
Put it this way, she has more good than bad. Okay, far more good than bad than a guy named Trump.
Yeah, because Trump has done more bad than he has good. Just like the Hillary has done more good than bad. That's why we will rather have Hillary in office than Trump in office for that reason. And speaking of Trump, Trump committed fraud again a couple days ago.
I didn't hear about that, so I'll have to check on it.
Yeah, well,
I haven't been watching the news except for the weather lately.
well, we don't watch the news. We look it up on our phone.
Yeah, or on the laptop. Yeah,
That's how. Yeah, that's how well we do internet. News now, and we are technically an internet news network.
And by
So,
the way, everybody, another thing I wanted to tell you is just recently there hasn't been another wildfire in the United States of America. There was a wildfire in Oklahoma just recently, and what we need to do is not create oil and fossil fuels. That wildfire that just happened in Oklahoma was because of an oil spill in Oklahoma, as well as hot and humid weather, and that's what caused the wildfire in Oklahoma in the first place, and it burned 3,000 acres.
we don't need pipes bringing all gasoline and
yeah,
whatever
pipelines.
across the United States, because something's going to happen. There's going to be a mishap. It's going to leak out. Oh well, we'll try talking around it. It will do it. Not that I know of why it would. It's just nature. It's nature going against something that's not there. That for nature whatsoever. There's no good about it.
And so to let you know, everybody, just recently on Friday, on Christmas Eve, they sent the space telescope into outer space, so that way it would go to another galaxy and go past the moon, so that way we could see if any of those planets outside of our galaxy have life on those planets. And they said on the Weather Channel that it's going to take 5 days for it to go to another galaxy.
Well, I heard that they sent out a space
telescope.
It wasn't a telescope. It was a rocket ship, a spaceship into the sun, and that hit the sun. I was wondering what you thought about that, and whether or not is this a good idea? Because
it's not a good idea.
Yeah, there's asking for trouble. The sun is the center of the universe. All the planets we revolve around it. We are in orbits, and which of course move us along. And the orbits are played off of the sun, that we go around. And we don't need to shoot any type of object into the sun or any of the other planets. Leave it alone, because what if you throw it off, the orbit, and then all of a sudden it gets sucked in there, one planet after the next. It's good possibility could happen.
Yeah, I can't believe how arrogant humanity is. I mean, we are really the most arrogant species on Earth, because we allow people to exploit people with capitalism, a system called capitalism, which exploits the workers, exploits so many other people. We have a system where we have people doing damage to the climate, severe damage to the climate with drilling with oil. I mean, you could go on. It's just, I think it shows the arrogance of people who are doing that. And
We're going to take our first break, everybody. Be right back.
this is the Commie
And the liberal.
Okay. Don't take too long. We're going to sign off at 5 o'clock.
Hi there,
Hi,
everybody.
back.
We're back. This is the Commie and the Liberal, and we got two more things to talk about before signing off here. The next thing we were going to talk about is a new planet in our solar system. We got a new planet in our solar system called Planet X, named after the planet from Looney Tunes. And what happened was with Planet X on Looney Tunes, Daffy Duck and Marvin the Martian both destroyed the planet because they did not like each other and they thought that they were invading each other's space on Planet X. They used the laser gun and blew each other up, including the planet itself. The whole planet was destroyed and it threw the planets out of orbit. Now, I wanted to tell you is everybody else barely hanged on, but we know that once you blow up a planet, you're not going to be able to hang on for very long. You're dead after a while because there's no oxygen in space. Now, Planet X, which is in our solar system, I want to tell you, everybody, it's past Pluto. And Planet X, they found out that it's a green planet, and we're still learning about the new planet called Planet X because we don't know if there's life on Planet X and if it has water on Planet X. And that is the final planet before you go past the moon into a new galaxy. And that's why they sent out that space telescope in the outer space to go past the moon to see if there was a new galaxy and if there was life on other planets for that reason. And as soon as possible, they're going to give out the space telescope to children so that way children can look at the space telescope at night and see the another galaxy that's past the moon and to see if there's any life on those planets.
Can I let you know there's the Earth has a moon, okay, which only goes around us, doesn't go around anywhere else. Jupiter has a bunch of moons. I forgot how many, 8, 11. I'm sorry, I really don't remember off, but I know it's more than just a couple, and yeah, and other planets, some might have moons and all, and then like you're saying, going past Pluto, you're going into outer space. It's even leaving this area here, travel into another. We don't know if it's occupied, if there's people or beings or whatever type and all that. But that's the way it goes. Some planets have moons, some don't. So.
And by the way, if you go past the moon into another galaxy, because we found out there was another galaxy past the moon, who knows what you're gonna be wanting into? Are you gonna be wanting in the people, or you gonna be wanting in the aliens? See, nobody knows who you would be wanting into.
Will they be good or will they be bad?
Yeah.
Will the animals maybe eat people and think, oh, it's just a bunch of animals, nice little pet? Then they eat you up. You never know.
I don't think any of this is a good idea. I think a lot of it's waste.
Yeah, it's a waste of
money and
people are starving.
we
People
have
need places to live. This money could go to that.
My point exactly. We have so much investment in space.
And hey, I'm going to put in the thing, this race rocket with these millionaires and all. No, there are people you can give it to that need help.
Yeah, I mean, all the billionaires are doing that. I think it's unfortunate. We shouldn't be doing this the way we are doing it now, and I think it's sad.
It is sad because the money should go towards the poor people and not in the space, because otherwise you're wasting money.
We're talking millions of dollars are being used, and you add them all together, it's over $1 billion being used.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money, over $1 billion. Also, they found more water on Mars just recently. And I want to tell you, everybody, that we don't know very much about Mars, but we have found more water on Mars. And here's my question. They brought up on the Weather Channel about more water on Mars on Friday. And my question is the water in Mars drinkable? We don't know if it's drinkable or not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But it's so ridiculous, the idea that we can put a man on Mars, and I'll say why. It's because you can't survive on that planet. You would have to go underground, under the planet, and you would have to drill, because it's like 207 degrees or so in Mars, on that planet.
Nobody would survive in 207-degree weather
there, and because you would have to drill. It's not there already. So the idea that the person would do that, would try to drill into the ground to go underground, that takes minutes. And I think it shows that there are a lot of people who are angry about that, because we really are wasting money on a lot of the Mars things. I mean, the whole thing could have paid off lots of money. Just like with politics, with spending money, you have the people like Joe Manchin have 11 million donations from coal
companies
and coal super PACs, and I think it's wrong, and we have big money in politics. We got to get the money out, because it's ruining our politics, and it's just not good for people.
I wanted to just tell you, everybody, the final thing we're going to talk about is the shooting. There was another shooting just earlier today,
Yeah, the grocer supermarket.
and 3 people were dead. One person was injured.
Yeah, we'll definitely get caught up on that later. Like we said, we just seen it in passing, and we didn't really get all the information about it. Otherwise, we'd be talking to you more about it. But we have to, uh, view things also and see what they say. And we were just talking about it yesterday about this and that getting shot through the year, and I made a comment. Of course, the year's not over yet. Unfortunately, that's coming true. Yeah, so
And
concerning, with the gun.
And since 2012, there have been shootings before the year gets over. And the same year the Batman movie theater shooting happened in February 2012 was also the same year all the rest of the shootings happened, and every other year as well. Ever since the Batman movie theater shooting, the shootings have gotten a lot worse. They have gotten 100 times worse than they were before the Batman movie theater shooting. And that has to change.
Yeah, I mean, we have too many guns in this country. It's as simple as that. I've said it many times before. We need a more gun control. We got to get rid of these guns, because look at Japan. They have nearly zero crime. They have no crime rates. You know why? Because they implemented the stringent gun control regulations and control laws. The UK. Now, a lot of people are going to get after me for mentioning the UK because, well, look at what the problem is. It's stabbing. Even if it's stabbing, you have a longer chance of living if it's not a gun, and two, a gun is something that you can't control in that way. You can't control your fate. So I think it shows that we should have gun control in this country.
With the
But
with the gun controls and all that, what we need to do is make sure that people are totally checked out. The people that are applying for a gun. I don't care what more things you got to do it. Because you want to know that the person is the right person for owning a gun. There needs to be gunmanship taught all the way maybe down in high school, with kids so they know what they want, know what's what, how to use it if they need to.
Okay, everybody. Well, we're going to sign off in 2 minutes from now. So within the final 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and play a song from the 1960s. It would be Jimi Hendrix.
See you on Wednesday. This was the Commie. And we'll listen.
Well, all of you will see you on Wednesday at 4 o'clock p.m. This is the Commie and the Web Wall.
This is
Good old
exactly-
Fox's good old father.
We'll see. Be sure to take care. We all wish you well.
I just wanted to
And
remind
again, even though it's gone, Merry Christmas.
And Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
and to remind everyone, our new show Reaction, that's going to be coming on. And our dad has his show
Talking Hard.
That'll be on coming up. So there you go.
Good night.
Good night.